Today's video is all about fragrances that I am currently utterly obsessed with, and I cannot wait to share these with you. So if you want to find out more, then please keep on watching. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if it's the first time you're visiting. Thank you so much for joining me today. As I already mentioned in the intro, today's video is going to be all about my current fragrance obsessions. I am head over heels for these. They were love at first sniff, and quite frankly, I just needed to share them with you. So I'm just going to jump straight into the video because I'm honestly super excited, and yeah, I just need to tell you about these recent fragrance obsessions. The first fragrance is from Gritti, and this one is called Gossip Night. And I don't know what took me so long to try Gritti fragrances. I know some of them get a lot of love here on YouTube, but also over on TikTok and Instagram too. And I only recently just sampled the brand. I tried 6 different fragrances and I loved them all, which never happens when I sample a brand. So I put a little bit of a question poll out on Instagram to ask what your favorites were, and I got some other recommendations, so I've got more decants on the way. So I might do a Gritti house overview, or I might just start sharing what my favorites from the house are. Anyway, let's get on to Gossip Night because, oh wow, I have been swooning over this fragrance. I've worn it 3 days in a row now. It is my scent of the day, and this one is just so captivating. It's so delicious, and quite frankly, it makes me really hungry. To me, it's a gourmand, but it is kind of like a floral, woody gourmand fragrance, but I get some type of fruity peach cobbler with powdered sugar on it, lots of ice cream, or I was describing it yesterday to my husband as a powdered donut. Now, it doesn't straight up smell like donut. There's definitely a very prominent kind of mango, peachy goodness going on throughout Gossip Night, but it has this really beautiful kind of powdered vanilla sugarness through it. Anyway, I am just utterly obsessed with this one. It is still very new in my collection. As I said, it's my scent of the day. Oh, I am not someone who does more than 10 sprays. I don't even often do more than 5 sprays. I am an undersprayer. I've mentioned this so much on my channel before. But Gossip Night, this is a fragrance that I can overspray because I am intoxicated by the composition. Yeah, I can smell it in the air. It's definitely a soft fruitiness. It's not sharp, it's not overpowering in any way. I get an almost soft white sweet peach, or a very soft mango. It's not a ripe mango, it's not a sour mango. Maybe a kind of nectarine type of vibe. And then I get this powdered sugar goodness, lots of vanilla. Oh, Gossip Night. I know many of you have probably already tried Gossip Night. I am so late to the party. Duchessa is another extremely popular fragrance from Gritti, and I'm a big fan of the bottles actually, because it could have easily been this way round, right? And it would have looked more like a traditional perfume bottle. But by doing it like this, it does give it a unique edge. Anyway, please do let me know what your favorite fragrances are from Gritti. I know many of you won't have Instagram, or maybe don't follow me over there too, but I can order some more decants because I'm on a little Gritti kick at the moment. Yeah, if you have tried Gossip Night, please do let me know your thoughts on it. I'm super curious, and I will also link somewhere where you can get decants down below. The next 2 fragrances are from Alexandre J, and we have Oriental Enigma and we have Oriental Enigma Extrait. And I'm sorry for holding out on you for so long. I know I briefly touched on these in a previous video, but didn't really give you a review. I wanted just a little bit more time with them so I can give a bit more of a rounded opinion and compare the 2 of them. They are more luxury, expensive fragrances, so I wanted to ensure I gave you a little bit more of an in-depth review so you can maybe compare which ones that you would want to purchase. Now, the EDP is a 100 ml size format, and the Extrait is a 25 ml format. So there is quite a difference in the two. This bottle is super, super cute. Now, do they smell similar or the same? Yes and no. They are very, very similar in many ways. However, I do find with some Extraits, they don't project as much or give as big of a scent bubble, and for me that is the case with this Extrait. Now, it's definitely a more powerful and voluptuous scent. Voluptuous, I don't know why I used that word. It is just a bigger, more dense version of Oriental Enigma to my nose at the least. However, what I will say is the EDP on my skin projects more than the Extrait. So it depends what vibe you're going for and what is most important to you. Longevity on the Extrait is better. So you've got better sillage on the EDP and you've got better longevity on the Extrait. If you have sampled Oriental Enigma and you want something a little bit more dense, a little bit more sticky, and it feels a little bit more thick in body, then the Extrait is going to give you that. But what is my preference? Oof, that's a really difficult question. They both have different positives. I have definitely been more drawn to the Extrait because I like the denseness that this has over the EDP. However, the scent bubble on the EDP is absolutely gorgeous. Both of these personally, I don't need too many sprays of. I find it quite strong and it's a very sweet kind of gourmand profile. So I personally wouldn't overspray these, but you do you, however you like wearing your fragrances. Oriental Enigma is hazelnut, it's dates, you've got orris in here, there's some hibiscus, you've got rum, you've got tonka bean, and it's very, very vanillic. A beautiful, beautiful, sweet gourmand fragrance. I highly, highly recommend the two of these. I also have Imperial Peacock from Alexandre J, and I would say it's a 50-50 in terms of which one I prefer between Imperial Peacock and Oriental Enigma. I think both are gorgeous. But if you like your gourmand fragrances, then you'll maybe lean more towards Oriental Enigma. Now, I have seen the EDP being compared to some other fragrances, such as Kilian's Angel Share, Galan's Spirituis Double Vanille, and Parfums de Marly Eau Jaune. And I can see where people are going with some of those comparisons, but to me, it's still a very standalone fragrance that isn't directly the same or similar to something else on the market, to my nose at the very least. It shares the similar sweetness of Angel Share, but it lacks the spices and the booziness in my opinion. This one is more sticky dates. You've got the hazelnut, there's lots of tonka bean, and there's lots of vanilla, but it has that same kind of sweet DNA. I don't think it smells similar to Galan's Spirituis Double Vanille. That to me is quite a soft and gentle vanilla, whereas this one I think has a lot of body and is very unique in profile. So back to the comparisons between the two. This is slightly lighter, but it's still a very sticky and dense gourmand fragrance with a unique profile with that date, that hazelnut, tonka bean, hibiscus. Whereas the Extrait is just a more dense version of the EDP that does have better longevity. I would say that you get a lot more date in here. You get a lot more tonka bean. Let me just quickly smell it again. I'm getting more of that hazelnut. It's definitely a very nutty composition. Oh, it's so good. It is so good. I am trying my best not to spray this often because it's such a dinky bottle, and you know I'm not an oversprayer, and I've only been testing this and I can see that little dent in it. It makes me really sad. So it's a really difficult task for me to recommend which one you should pick over the two if you were looking at these fragrances. I guess from a monetary value, this one is of course better value, and it does have a great sillage. The longevity is still great, by the way. So don't let that be the reason why you get the Extrait, because I think the EDP already has great longevity. It's also very dense and sticky without the Extrait. So this is a really great fragrance. I would say this one's good to add if you're a big lover of the collection, but I would probably stick with the EDP as a first pass and then get this one if you really love the fragrance and you are a collector. But by the way, combined, layered, wow. Wow, 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 wow. Enough said on that. Complete obsessions, both of these. I definitely will be wearing these a lot more in the autumn and winter. They're just a little bit too sweet, sticky and dense for summer in my opinion, but yeah, beautiful fragrances. The next fragrance really took me by surprise in terms of how much I love it for the type of scent profile that it is. And the fragrance in question is from Byron, and this one is called Green Butterfly. And I have seen a couple of reviews of this one now, both on YouTube and on Instagram, and it immediately drew me in because I love my musky fragrances. And this one has a very kind of prominent iris musky dominance to it. But there is some other unique things going on in this composition which have really drawn me in, and I don't have anything quite the same in my collection. This is the perfect kind of everyday fragrance for those of you that like your kind of clean, musky, I don't want to say fresh fragrance, but it still feels quite light and fresh when you wear it, but it leaves an incredible sillage. Even though you might not necessarily smell it a lot on yourself, it leaves just this incredible scent trail behind you. As I mentioned, it's definitely an iris musky fragrance, but there's a dark chocolate note in here that gives it a slightly powdered bitteriness, some light citruses throughout, and then you have aldehydes, and those aldehydes I think is what is giving it this incredible scent bubble and sillage. It makes it very timeless, but the aldehydes are not old-fashioned. I don't normally like aldehydes in fragrances. This just gives it a light kind of, I don't want to say fizziness, but there's kind of like an aerated, I'm getting the iris, I'm getting the musk. I think I pick up a little bit of creamy sandalwood in here too. There are some light florals, but I wouldn't say it's an overly floral fragrance. It just feels quite magical in some way. I love the name Green Butterfly because it reminds me of that kind of being in nature. It's fresh, it's the outdoors, it feels natural. It's kind of like a woodland fairy or something like that. And I believe Green Butterfly is made in limited quantities. So if this is the kind of scent profile you would love, I would highly recommend trying to get a sample of it, trying it. But it's a really gorgeous kind of clean, everyday, musky fragrance with a twist. I've been really obsessed with it as an everyday, easy reach type of fragrance, but it will also get compliments. So don't let the scent profile make you think that it's just going to be a skin scent, because it is not. People are going to smell you too. The next fragrance is from Initio, and this one is Rehab. I know I speak a lot about musk therapy, but I'm having a little bit of a love affair with Rehab at the moment. It is so comforting and it feels very kind of zen mode. And I have a little bit of a story behind why my obsession has grown on this fragrance or over this fragrance. And I recently went to this kind of wellness retreat with my best friend. We were there for 3 days and it was all about relaxation. It was wellness. All the food was plant-based. We did yoga, we did swimming, there's spa, had things like sound baths and meditation. It was all about kind of a holistic wellness. And I was thinking about what fragrance I wanted to take with me on this retreat. And Rehab really stood out to me because of its calming qualities and the type of composition it was. So I wore this on my way there and I wore it the whole trip, and I just became even more in love with this fragrance. And my best friend who I was with is utterly obsessed with this too now. She couldn't stop sniffing me and she is going to get a bottle of this one. And it has this kind of calming quality to it. There's lots of lavender in here. It's aromatic, it's a little bit woody, but it does give me those kind of spa vibes when I smell it. It's not overly offensive, it's very likable. Definitely very unisex too. There's musks, there's gaiac wood, there's sandalwood. It's just really, really relaxing. That's the only way I can describe Rehab. And I've built this kind of special connection with it now as being my kind of calming and zen fragrance. So if I ever want a day where I just need to get my mindset correct, I want to relax and be very calm and collected, then this one is going to be the fragrance that I reach for. Don't let the notes put you off. I'd highly recommend sampling this one if you haven't already. But yeah, I'm having a little bit of an obsession with Rehab right now. It's definitely my new zen fragrance. The next fragrance really took me by surprise, and it is from the House of Oud, and this one is called Neverending. I don't know if I've seen anyone speak about this one on YouTube. Maybe I have, I'm not too sure. But I sampled this I think I was in Javoy when I sampled it, and it really stood out to me. Now, I don't think it smells as the bottle appears. So when I look at this bottle, I think like light, maybe fruity floral, maybe aquatic, sweet. That's the kind of vibe I get from the colors on this bottle. But it's a lot more complex than that. It's not a sweet, fruity fragrance by any means. It's actually more of a spicy vanilla. And there are lots of spices in here, and it is so, so good. I'm having another obsession. Of course, this is a video all about obsessions, things I'm loving at the moment. But yeah, this one just really jumped out to me, and it's so underrated from the House of Oud in my opinion. It's spicy, it's vanillic, it's a little bit woody too. I think there's gaiac wood in here. That's the note I kind of perceive is gaiac wood. Lots and lots of spices, complex spices too. Just gonna spray it in the air quickly. Yeah, I'm getting a big blast of spices, but that vanilla is there right from the initial spray, and I love a vanilla fragrance. But when I get a vanilla now, I want something just a little bit more complex than being a straight up vanilla. I'm getting a very smoky quality from this. So James kind of described it when I first sprayed it in the house as being a kind of by the fireplace vibe. And I can see where he's going with that. Now you might be thinking it sounds similar to Replica's By the Fireplace, and it does have the smokiness of that fragrance, but it is very unique in terms of how much spice is throughout here. There's vanilla, but it's not overly sweet to my nose in any way. It's quite earthy. I pick up a lot of nutmeg too. There's some light florals throughout. I think it's tuberose and jasmine from memory. It's musky in the dry down, but if you like the sound of a spicy, smoky vanilla that has a lightness to it, that's a little bit musky and has light florals, get a sample of Neverending. I'm so curious if anyone's tried this and what you think. And I would just really love to hear your thoughts because like I said, I haven't seen much feedback on this one and I am so drawn to it. It's definitely more of an autumn winter scent, but I'm slowly starting to ease into my autumn scents. The summer here has been not great where I live, so I've been reaching for some of my autumn fragrances already, which I know it's really bad, but hopefully the sun will come out soon. So the last fragrance that I'm really obsessed with is the House of Oud's Neverending. So those were all of the fragrances that I wanted to discuss with you in today's video. I am head over heels for all of the fragrances that I discussed. I would love to hear your feedback if you have sampled any of these and what you think about them. But what I want to know, and it's the same thing that I always want to know, is what are your latest fragrance obsessions? Please let me know in the comments down below. I am finding the best recommendations through the comments section, so please do keep them coming. It really makes me happy reading all of the comments. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you in a future video to come. Have a wonderful day. Thank you and goodbye.